I went to BookCon and I have thoughts. I've taken some time, I've really reeled it in, and now I'm ready to speak on it. But I also read a lot this month, so we're also going to talk about that. Just a smidge. Let's get into it. Okay, so you guys, I know that this is kind of the highly anticipated video coming from every book creator who went to BookCon right now, but I'm going to go into this saying that I am not a convention person. I have never been to a convention until BookCon 2026. I also live in New York City. I don't really think that matters, but like, I'm not going to be talking about like hotel accommodations or anything like that in this video. That being said, I feel like I had the experience pretty much everybody had in line. You know, the vibe, the crowds. I guess I'm just gonna basically run through each day I was there and we'll go from there. Day one, Sunday, as you guys know, if you see my other videos, I went with my best friend, Ashley. We have been best friends since kindergarten. We show up at BookCon, we're there at 9 a.m. and we were ready to go. Like, we were excited. We knew the doors didn't open until 10, and we get through the line and they even like move our part of the line to the front, and we're like, what? We're like, we don't have VIP tickets, we just have weekend tickets, whatever. Everyone in line at this point was like, fine, like, it was okay. Like, everybody kind of knew that they were just like waiting, so the vibes were like fine. And then, so going into this weekend, I did not have a single reservation, but she did. So she got into the Heated Rivalry event, and I literally had 0 reservations. So basically, I was like, I'm just gonna like have fun. I had a whole schedule on my phone of things that I like wanted to go to, but I wasn't quite sure I would get to, if that makes sense. I more or less just went about my day like that. We get in the first day by 10:15. I remember being like to her, like, I think if we get in by 10:30, we'll be good. It was 10:15. We made it immediately to the 5th floor. It was fine. I got to use the bathroom, get some water. Couldn't complain there. So then, this is kind of where I think I messed up on the convention. Like I said, first ever convention, I didn't know what was going on. I then go from level 5 downstairs, and I'm in front of 3, and I see a giant line, and I'm like, oh, why is everybody standing in line? But instead of like wondering why they were standing in line and like actually going to join the line, I was just like, I don't want to stand in the line first thing in my day. Little did I know that would lead to my disappointment throughout the day. Whatever. So I go back to the 1st floor and I went to Indie Alley, and everybody is like, oh, Indie Alley was so fun. It was such a great time. And I went there like right off the bat, and it seemed like nobody was really ready for people to come down there yet, which, listen, I didn't know that I should have stayed at the 3rd level. So that's on me. But I got to explore all of that without any people there, which I thought was really interesting. That being said, when everybody's like, oh, it's so busy, like later in the day, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it was not busy when I was there. But yeah, so then I went to my first panel, 11 a.m. It was a like classics retelling in romance. And it was a really cool panel. I said it was kind of mid in my last video, but like I said, I said this in that video as well. I didn't know those authors, and I didn't properly like invest my time into that panel to really enjoy it in that way. So that's on me. I honestly kind of just like wandered around for a bit, and then at that point afterwards I went to the 3rd level for the first time, because the first thing on the 3rd level that I had written down was a BK Borson signing from 1 to 3 p.m. at the, I don't remember what everything was. I don't remember exactly what booth it was, but at some booth. And I immediately get there, seeing a huge line of people, and I'm like to someone, I'm like, is this the line for BK Borson? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, do you have a wristband? And I was like, a what? I was like, do I need one of those? What is that? Like, what do I have to do to get one? And they're like, oh, well, they gave all of them away this morning, and they gave out 1 per hour that she'll be signing. Guys, I had my first time caller and Now Back to You in my backpack, and I was like, oh, so I don't get to see BK Borson today? Okay. And, you know, at first I was like, okay, like, I'll stand in the standby line, like, I'll wait it out a little bit. And then eventually I was just like, is it even worth it? Like, I want to see BK Borson, but she's signing at other times at different places. So then after that, I go to Penguin Random House, and I'm like, hey, she's signing at 6 p.m. Like, what do I need for that? They're like, oh, we already gave out all of our wristbands. Also, you had to buy something to be able to get to this signing. And I was like, oh, okay. Also, I will say here, I never once went inside of the Penguin Random House booth at all. It was always busy. It was completely like blocked off every single time I tried to go near it. So I just never once went in there. After that, me and Ashley met up. You guys saw in our one video of us talking about it and like talking about our day so far. I was like, wow, this is really not what I expected. Ever. So after lunch, I was just like, I'm just going to walk around and see what I can do. I don't think I went to anything else after lunch. No, I don't think I did, because at like 4 p.m. that day was the Christina Lauren signing. And I was like, if I can't get to BK Borson, I at least want to get to Christina Lauren, because I did love the True Love Experiment a lot. I walk up to that booth and I'm like, hey, do I need a wristband for this? How do I get a wristband? And they were like, oh, no, we don't give wristbands out until 10 minutes before. And I'm like, oh, perfect, okay. So it's 3:30. I'm walking around like talking to people, giving out my business cards, just introducing myself to other book people, because I'm still very new on this platform and I want to share my account and share everything I can. It is literally 3:45 and I go to the booth where Christina Lauren's going to be signing, and I see this giant line and I'm like, it's 15 minutes before. They can't give out wristbands, right? Yet? No. So then I get in line. I talk to people in line with me. They're like, oh yeah, like they told us the same thing, like we asked earlier in the day as well. And I'm like, okay. Awesome. So I was telling them all about how I didn't get to see BK Borson earlier that day and I was upset about it and whatever. Like at this point, the worker of that booth came over to us and was like, you guys all asked about when to be here on time. Other people started a line they weren't supposed to too early. This is not your fault. And we're like, oh, cool. So she's like, we've let the authors know. And like, we're going to have them pump people through if they can. So we're all in this line, hyping each other up, whatever. So I'm sitting there talking to someone that I had just become friends with about BK Borson, and they're like, oh my God, we saw her earlier, like in Indie Alley, and we got her to sign our books. And I was like, really? Like I had seen on Threads that she was gonna be walking around all day, but like I didn't expect to see her. Like I couldn't tell her out of a crowd. Next thing you know, it's like literally like a movie. I'm sitting there talking to them. I look at the front of our line and I'm like, you guys saw her today, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, is that her? And then next thing you know, these two women who were the nicest people I think I've ever met take my backpack and they're like, quick, get your books, go, we'll hold your spot in line. And I am not even kidding you. Like this happened so fast that like I was so starstruck to it, the whole situation, that I think the only thing I said to BK Borson was, oh my God, I don't have a marker or a pen. And I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, it's okay. Like I have one. And I was just like, so then I hand her both my books and I'm like, can you sign my books? Thank you so much, and probably some more inaudible like things that I probably can't share because I don't know what I said. And I'm like freaking out at this point. I'm like, oh my God, like I really wanted that to happen. Whatever. I get back. The girls in line are like super, super nice. They're all like, yay, like we got you that signature. Like we're going to all see Christina Lauren. And that was really cool. We did get to see Christina Lauren. We got our book signed. And then after that, I met up with Ashley again. We went around Indie Alley and we kind of just like got to lay the land again. At this point, it was like after 3 p.m. No, it was after like 5 p.m. I got out of the Christina Lauren signing at like 4:50. We walked around Indie Alley, which was really cool because you have to remember Ashley was in panels all day. So I got to do like the walking around part and she got to do none of that. So I was like, yeah, I'll walk around with you again. It's fine. At this point of the day is when my feet really started hurting and I started getting hungry. We walk around Indie Alley, we have a good time, and we got a bunch of free stuff. I, at this point, have put away all of my free stuff or put it into my boyfriend's mom's junk journal bag that she'll be getting soon. So I will not be showing you the free stuff I got. At that point, we're like, let's go to dinner. We go to Shake Shack, and then we're like, we knew that we wanted to go back for the book bedazzling and also bingo. So we come back after dinner, and I'm like to her, I'm like, Ashley, like my feet are hurting. Like I'm not really feeling too, like I'm tired, I'm really tired, whatever. So we basically get back through security. We get all the way upstairs. Bedazzling is completely filled. There's like a beat poetry thing going on. I respect beat poetry, but I did not want to sit through it for over an hour and a half. So she was like, she was like, do you think bingo will be different? And I'm like, honestly, from the vibe of like how everything has been today and like what I've been hearing from other people, like no. So then we ultimately decided to leave. Day two, I do feel went a lot smoother, But that being said, I feel like I did less on day 2, but that was purposeful. Like I said, I walked around the main areas so many times, and there's only so many times you can walk around the main areas and like go and see the same things over and over again before you get bored. Like, I agree 100% with people online who are saying like none of the major publishers had any deals going on. Like, obviously small businesses are not going to be able to mark down like a crazy amount, but like the fact that the big publishers didn't have like a buy one get one free or anything like that was strange. So like I just like kind of steered away from it because I'm like, I don't really need to buy from Barnes and Noble at BookCon. It just like didn't make any sense to me. Day 2 at the beginning was completely different. So day 1 we were standing outside. Day 2 we got there at the same time and we ended up sitting inside, which I was like, oh, don't really know why we're doing that. I think it was supposed to rain, but it was much smoother. So like, can't complain. Both situations getting in was like smooth. I don't know where people were complaining about that, but like both were smooth for me. So I was just like, all right, I can't complain. I'm here. It doesn't really matter to me. Day 2 we get in, I drop Ashley off at whatever panel she was going to first. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? Okay, now I know that ARC drops are like every couple of hours. So it's like, I'm gonna go down to level 3 and I'm gonna go stand in a line. So I go over to Source Books because I just happen to be closest to Source. And I'm like, okay, sure, this is a fantasy drop. I like fantasy. Don't love it, but I would read it, you know? To be honest with you, I went into it with more of the intention of I want the experience versus I want the book. So I ultimately stood in that line to have them hand out Post-its with the numbers between 1 and 100 out. And by the way, I'm 5'5.5". I'm not very tall. So when the poor woman who had to hand out these Post-its had everybody reaching over other people, yeah, like my arm's not going, I have short arms. My arm's not going to reach that long. Craziest part about the situation was that it felt like you were literally being judged 100 times over. The Post-it was being handed to you or not handed to you. Like, I witnessed the woman working that booth look me in the eyes, and I'm telling you, I think she saw in my soul. I don't know what she saw. I don't want to know, but I didn't get a book. Like I said, I wanted that experience. I got the experience. It was a weird freaking experience. After that, I went to a meetup. It was a romance meetup, and I walked in, and I can be honest about it now, guys, because I was a little afraid to be honest about it, but I'm going to be honest now. It was a cozy romance meetup, and I was like, these are my people. I'm like, these are my people. I had managed to not go to the content creator like meetup or the Sarah J. Maas meetup, so I was like, I might as well go to the cozy romance one. This one makes most sense for me. I walk in, there is one person at the front of the room, there's a set of people around a circular table, and then there's 2 other people sitting at a different table. I'm like, okay, whatever. The person who is manning the event, I walk up to them, I'm like, hi, you know, blah, blah. They're being very friendly. We get to, exchange hellos and everything. And this individual was like, oh, I don't have anything planned for the meetup. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. This person was like, oh, fill out your information. So I give them my information, which is, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, etc. And I go and sit down. I don't sit at the table with a bunch of people because I'm not a person that likes to crowd around other people. So I was like, I'll sit across from the other 2 people. They seem cool. I don't think I talked to them once until later when someone else came and sat down with me. And I'm not going to lie with you. It was the weirdest situation ever, but I think that I ended up in a good situation because I actually ended up going to another event at BookCon with those 3 people. So at some point, it ended up getting close to the panel that BK Borson was speaking at on Sunday. So I was like, hey, are you guys going to that? And they're like, oh, we didn't even know we could go to that. We thought we needed a reservation. And I'm like, no. So then the 4 of us, counting myself, went and sat in line for that for like an hour. Then we went to the Curl Up and Get Cozy panel. I was disappointed with this panel ultimately. I was really excited for it. This was like the panel that was the whole reason I was excited to go for Sunday. I think that they needed to be more specific with how they were doing these panels. So this panel was described as like a cozy reader panel, but like I interpreted it as like cozy romance, and so did Ashley, who met us there. But like it was more than that. It was cozy thriller, it was cozy mystery, it was cozy fantasy, it was cozy romance. Like, but here's the thing. It felt like none of the questions were catered to BK Borson. It felt like it was catered to all the other authors, and like that's amazing. And like I'm okay with that, but I wanted more even across the panel, you know what I mean? That was like a little bit of a letdown, and then I got really excited because someone from the crowd asked about BK Borson writing Jackson from And Now Back to You, and I really love that one, so no complaints. And after that, we kind of all went our separate ways. I went back to Indie Alley and I actually bought a book that I had talked to the author about the day before because I couldn't stop thinking about it. And yeah, after that I had lunch. I then met up with my college roommate. Ironically, she had gotten tickets to go on Sunday, so I saw her, we chatted for a bit, and then I went to the 5th floor and I was like, I need to get in to Page to Screen, like the one that's happening with all Project Hail Mary and everything. That was a crazy experience, and honestly I think it redeemed all of BookCon for me because I had not been to a main stage event because I had no reservations. So I had Ashley on Saturday telling me, oh my God, Heated Rivalry was so amazing. It was so cool hearing the author talk about it. And I just had like no concept to be able to base that on because I hadn't been in that room. And the panels I went to on Saturday was totally different than anything that was on the main stage event. So I'm really happy that I was able to really experience the entire thing. And I am obsessed with Project Hail Mary. So I was very happy to see Andy Ware as well. But yeah, so that was everything with BookCon because after Page to Screen was over, it was over. Like everything was good. Like literally by 2 p.m., I was like, I've seen enough. I can only go back to so many different tables a certain amount of time. And like also I don't want to do the ARC thing again. I'm like, I'm okay. I wasn't even excited for it. I didn't even want to do it again. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Let's now do the short part of it, vibes. The crowd was like insane, but I feel like I didn't get any of that on camera because I was too afraid to take out my camera whenever it was insane. I feel like I've never simultaneously sweat and been freezing at the same time in my entire life. Like I was shoulder to shoulder with people the entire weekend, it felt. I'm honestly shocked that I didn't leave BookCon with like COVID or the flu. Like I'm gonna be so for real with you. Will say like everybody in line and everybody that I met at BookCon was super nice, super like, we're all book people, we all have something in common already. But there was only one time that someone really was like a little rude that I was like, oh, interesting. It was ironically when I was walking over to the Christina Lauren signing and people were standing in a long line. And I had overheard this Scholastic booth like make a joke about being like, what are they standing in line for? So I went and asked someone. And so I was just like, what are you guys standing in line for? And the person's like, the line starts back there. And to which I had to specify and be like, oh, I don't want to get in the line, but like, what is the line for? Like, I don't know what this line is for. And then another person was like, an arc. And then the other person was like, the back of the line is back there. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. It was just a weird moment. Other than that, no one was like rude or anything. Actually, like a quite tame group of people, as long as it wasn't an ARC drop, I feel like. Even the people that I did meet in line for the ARC drop on Sunday, like were all nice. They all were annoyed, but they all were nice. I will say I've seen a lot online of people being like, this was catered way too much towards the romance and fantasy girlies. I am indifferent with that explanation because going into it, that was my expectation, if that makes sense. I am a romance girly through and through. I kind of like understood that like right now that is the genre. So like being someone that likes both of those genres, I wasn't really annoyed by it, but I also can have empathy for other people when they're like, I'm a horror reader and there was nothing for me. I get that. For me personally though, there was a lot for me. That being said, I do think that the actual romance portion was heavily steered towards sports romance, and I'm not really a sports romance person at all. So like Ashley went to so many panels because she loves sports romance. She went to Heated Rivalry. She went to a different hockey one. She went to a baseball one. Like she had a great time in that, but that also is why our experiences differed, if that makes sense. That in general, I went into it with trying to have zero expectations because I didn't want to be disappointed, But at the beginning of day one, when it felt, I was just like, oh, I don't know if I'm enjoying this. I was a little overwhelmed and I was a little nervous about the whole thing. I feel like surprising and like disappointment, like I can't really put in a scale because I didn't really expect or anything like that. I was surprised at the amount of people there was, but I wasn't like shocked. Like I feel like that's the normal amount for that size of place. I think that the most annoying thing throughout the whole thing was that there was one escalator going to Indie Alley. Like, why was there only one way to get downstairs? I don't understand that. But you go again. I don't, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I would go again. I think that because I live in New York City, I'm already like I don't have to pay anything for like rent or like, you know, I already pay rent. So like I don't have to pay for like lodging or like a way to get here or anything. So if I was given the opportunity to go again, I think I would, but I'm not sure it's a event I'd be seeking out once again. That's kind of like my vibe with BookCon. I had a good time, but I do think that this might be like a once in a lifetime experience for me. That being said, if any publishers or brands are watching this and they want to send me next year. Anyway, let's talk about what I read in April. It is officially April 30th when I'm filming this. Guys, I am a little behind filming and everything this year. It's okay. I've been busy. Like, I honestly needed a weekend off after BookCon because everything was so stressful and, you know, also hosting Ashley. Love my best friend, but it's a lot to host a person as well. 4 books this month. I didn't think I was going to, and to be honest, this list was almost 5. I'm almost done with another book. This month, I read 2 books out of the Throne of Glass series. I read Crown of Midnight and I read The Assassin's Blade, and then I also read Funny Story by Emily Henry and While We Were Dating by Jasmine. I don't remember her last name and I don't have the book in front of me, so it's just gonna be right here. So we're gonna talk about the Throne of Glass series. We're gonna talk about books 2 and 3. I'm gonna make this quick because I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I can't tell if I liked one more. I don't know. I liked 2. 2 I liked a lot. To give you some background on why I'm like, I don't know if I can describe these ones. My review was, overall, I understood a lot more of what was going on in Crown of Midnight versus Throne of Glass. There was a minute where I was like, this may be my favorite of the bunch. Then in part 2, I fear I was so confused for a bit. I've heard so many good things about the ending, but I'm confused about it. Help. I wish I was kidding that was my review. I could not tell you exactly what happened to our girl in this book. But I also think it's because I read Assassin's Blade right after and it like brought me into prequel land. So I don't remember if I was describing this one as the selection series or not, but I think the first one was the selection series. I think I actually was disappointed that Dorian wasn't in Crown of Midnight more. But so we're just going to go on to Assassin's Blade because I don't have anything else to say here. The Assassin's Blade is like all novellas. Some of the novellas I didn't care for. Other novellas, I really liked them. The last novella was really good. That's all I have to say about the Assassin's Blade. I really don't have much to say about this series. I enjoy it, but I'm not sure I'm obsessed in the same way that I was with ACOTAR. I'm going to keep reading it, but I just had to put that disclaimer in there. I'm hoping at some point I'm like obsessed with it like I am with ACOTAR, but I'm not seeing it right now. So when I was literally halfway through the Assassin's Blade, I was like, okay, maybe I need to just like calm down for a bit. I was like, this is my commute book. I don't want to read this anywhere other than on a train. So I'm going to like do an at-home book as well. So I decided to read Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I am so happy I made that decision. I'm not even kidding you guys. I was nervous going into this one because I wasn't a huge fan of Emily Henry's literary fiction book. I didn't love it. It turned me off to her. And I also didn't love Happy Place, which I know is a hot take. Sorry. Didn't love Happy Place, so I was like, I'm not sure I'm ready to read another Emily Henry book because nothing is really like comparing. And then Funny Story came along. And you guys know I don't like a book that says the word funny or fun or like comedy in the title because this story was actually funny. I'll give it that. It's not like haha funny, but it's like ironic funny. Oh my God. I loved Funny Story. I really loved our main characters. I was obsessed with them. I think Miles might be my new favorite Emily Henry boyfriend. Like I'm I don't know why it took me so long to read that book. I'm going to be real with you. I don't know. It was a 5-star rating. I really enjoyed it. The last book I actually marathon read last weekend. Can you call it marathon reading if it's in a weekend versus a day? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I read While We Were Dating by Jasmine Guillory. I probably mispronounced your name. I'm so sorry. I read this book. I was excited for it. I let my Instagram followers decide what I was going to read. I didn't listen to what they said. They actually wanted me to read Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey, but I was like, I want to read While We Were Dating. Whatever. I had originally gotten this book from a blind date with a book. I was excited to read it, and then it sat on my shelf for a long time. I was like, all right, I need a romance book. I finished The Assassin's Blade. I need something that's going to make my heart feel good right now. I read this book. I was not thrilled. Not gonna lie, not thrilled about it. It felt like it was just like trope, like craziness. Like literally it was, but it was about like a movie star dating like a normal person. But like they went into like so many different tropes that like it was like I was being like whiplash, like I was being hit with them. So it was like, oh, one room only in the hotel. It was a workplace romance. It was pretty much everything. And I got so mad, and I did not like the female main character. I didn't think that she made good decisions. I like the male main character, but I kind of wish she would have left her. Also, I'm going to say it. They're one of those couples that I'm like, they did not stay together after this. Nope. All right, and that's all I have for you guys today. That was my experience at BookCon 2026 and what I read in April. Thank you so much for staying tuned into my channel, and thank you for giving me time to be able to like fully decide what I was going to say about BookCon. I don't have nails to show you guys. I did my nails for BookCon and I pulled them off today, so I'm sorry. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys want to follow me, I'm at Corey's Nail Diary on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and that's it. Yeah, that's it, I think. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.